Everyone is unique. I think you can all agree. As we are all unique, same applies to the way we respond to threats. Threats can be part of our daily lives, and it's very difficult to predict when are you going to encounter one or two threats. So on today's discussion, we are going to be talking about the trauma responses, how our bodies respond to threats. You see, our past traumas, it determines how we respond to threats. For example, if you have got some issues with dogs in the past, let's say a dog bites you in the past. Now, whenever you see dogs, you feel traumatized. It's either you run for your life or you can be in a freeze mode, stuck, not knowing what to do. Same applies when, let's say, there's a fire, your house is on fire. Some people might try to turn off, some people might try to put off that fire, while some people may try to take things out of the house so that they won't be burnt with fire. Some people may start screaming for help. That's how people respond to trauma. They respond differently at different situations. It all depends about the past traumas. So on today's discussion, we are going to be talking about the 5 trauma responses which we have in psychology. We have fight flight mode, we have freeze fawn, and we have flop. In the year 1920s, there's an American psychologist called Walter Cannon. He's the first person who described the concept of fight-flight mode. In the fight-flight mode, let me start with fight. The fight stress response is the concept when your brain produces a hormone. This hormone, it tells you to stay and fight for your life. So when you stay, you make effort to fight. Let's say, for example, people, they are bullying you. Your brain can tell you, don't run away. Stay, confront them. You can start yelling. You can start shouting. You can be angry and hit those people with some punches. You can start a physical fight. That's a fight stress response. But when you are fighting those people, it's not a healthy way of responding to a traumatic situation. The healthy way of responding to the situation is to wait. Tell those people that what they are doing is not acceptable. That's being inhuman. Then you communicate your boundaries. In that way, if you communicate your boundaries, that's a way of using the fight stress response. However, there's this stress response called the flight. With this flight stress response, your brain will tell you to run with your life. You just run. You just withdraw yourself from situation. Let's say you encounter robbers. There's no need to negotiate. If you can run, just run. But if you can't run, there are scenarios where you can start fighting. And if you have a chance to run with your life, you just run with your life. Because there are scenarios where you can't just stand for things to happen for you. You have to either fight or it's either you run away with your life. You see, these two trauma responses or fight-flight mode were developed when there were many tangible physical threats. But other psychologists identified that some trauma responses can go beyond that. Some people, they can go into a freeze mode, and some people, they can go into what they call fawn or friend mode. It is because of the concept of psychology and emotions. Let's say a child is being abused. The parent is beating a child and telling the child that if you run away from this house, I don't want you to come back. You see, the child will feel stuck. And the child can just go into a freeze mode. They don't have any plan on what to do, how to escape, because the parent is beating the child. And the child cannot escape because the child is afraid who's going to take care of her if she goes away. That's where we can get the concept of freeze mode. Sometimes people, they enter into a freeze mode because they try to fight or they try to escape, but they were not successful. So they will be just freeze. This concept of freeze mode, it happened many times in accidents. People, they can be just in shock. Some people, they can just die in shock. When you encounter a stressful situation like that, life-threatening situation like an accident, you cannot have time to escape. So sometimes you just enter into a freeze mode, not knowing what to do. There's this concept of fawn. Someone may ask, what is to fawn? Fawn is a trauma response which comes when you can't fight, you can't run away from the situation, and you can't freeze. Maybe you have tried to do these things, but you were not successful. So you choose to cooperate so that you don't experience the pain of the traumatic situation. So when you cooperate, let's say for example, a person has got an abusive partner. You are in an abusive marriage. You know that you have no any other plan. You have no job. You have no money to pay for rentals. You can't run away from this man. And this man is beating you. So you end up cooperating. Not because you want, but because you are so desperate. You don't know what to do. And you can't fight. That's why many times people in a relationship, they get stuck where they are abused. Because they can't escape, they can't fight, they can't freeze. But the best way they can do is to just cooperate so that they can benefit from that relationship. Even though the other part, even though they are being abused. There's this last concept. It's not widely talked about. The concept of flop. Flop is a concept of fainting. When you encounter a stressful situation, you just faint. Yeah, some people, they do faint. But the most common stress responses which I talked about in psychology, these are the four: fight, flight, or freeze or fawn. These concepts, they help us to deal with stressful situations. They gives us a signal on what to do. It's healthy. Because sometimes if you feel the energy to fight, just fight. But you should learn to fight in a healthy way. There are some times when it's not even necessary to fight. Let's say, for example, you are in a relationship and one of you is trying to end the relationship. Let's say the guy is trying to end the relationship and you, the lady, you are not ready for the end of the relationship. And you start calling, texting, doing whatever things, trying to fight so that you can maintain that relationship. Sometimes it's not even necessary to fight. You just need to understand that some things are not worth a fight. You can move on with your life. And there are some cases where you need to fight. Fighting is necessary. If you are communicating your boundaries with people, it's a healthy way of fighting. I've got another example. Let's say your house is on fire. It's not even advisable for you to be in a freeze mode. You can't be in a freeze mode when your house is on fire because it's a threat to your life. So when the trauma responses, when your body is responding to traumatic situations, you should use your brain also to decide on what is healthy for you. Sometimes you might feel like, I need to fight here. But you should consider, who am I fighting? If it's a parent, you can't be fighting with your parents. Seriously, you can't be fighting with your parents. You have to learn to control yourself. Like, let's say there's a fire. You can't choose to freeze. When your body is telling you to freeze, you should find a way to control your emotions. You can't freeze when there is fire. Run with your life. Run. Shout for help. Even though you can't put off the fire, but you can shout for help so that people can assist you. Because sometimes it's not good to keep quiet. There are some cases when people, they think that if they don't discuss about sensitive issues, they withdraw, they flee from deep conversation. They think that they are saving themselves, but sometimes it doesn't save yourself. It creates problems for you. So in case like you need to communicate your boundaries, you need to face those difficult conversations so that you reach to an understanding. Go for those deep conversations so that you get the problem solved. If you keep on escaping those deep conversations, it doesn't help you because you're keeping on accumulating problems. And one day it's gonna burst out. And maybe it's gonna burst out when the situation is so intense you can't even do anything to solve the problems. With this, I thank you. Don't forget to like and comment. Can I hear your views in the comment section? Can I hear how you respond during a traumatic situation? Or you can share with us what was the most traumatic situation in your life. With this, I thank you. I love you so much. Let's meet on another video.